You know, one thing I wanted to talk about today is the food prices in America, because I caught a couple videos last week where, well, what I'm hearing from these small sample sizes that the food prices in America, whatever, fast food, are skyrocketing in the USA. And you know, why is that? People argue back and forth. But the truth again is, somewhere in this area, when I was in Breckenridge, Colorado, Vail Resorts, big international company, bought Breckenridge, and they operate the company. You know, the ski resort. And so, of course, Vail Resorts has all the restaurants on the mountain they were in control of. But there was one restaurant, Peak 9, that was family owned because the family had an old lease and they had a few more years to operate the restaurant and compete with Vail Resorts. Well, over time, the family lost that lease and they did not continue the business. Okay? So Vail Resorts acquired the Peak 9 restaurant. And what did Vail Resorts do when they no longer had any competition? They jacked up the prices almost overnight, doubled the prices, food prices. You know, because they no longer had to be honest because there was no one else to compare to. They had total control. And that's what's happening in the food prices in the U.S., I'm pretty sure. I heard that 90% of the food companies now, the production companies, are controlled by 4 or 5 firms. And they are all more or less influenced by the same people, or Blackstone or whatever companies can tell them. So they can raise prices. They can make prices lower, you know. So this is what's going on, I believe. This is why the food prices are high. You know, 200 independent food production companies burned, caught on fire in the U.S. Like when Biden took office, 2022, 2021, 200 independent food production facilities caught on fire. 200. Look it up on the internet. So they eliminated, the competition was eliminated. They no longer have the Peak 9 restaurant out there in the U.S. It's all controlled by Vail Resorts, as an analogy. And they can charge whatever they want. Well, how do they decide what to charge? Is it based on food and production and distribution lines and taxes? Yes, but not only. Because the food companies receive the data from everybody's buying habits, because we all use electronic money, more or less, and social media. And so people are communicating about high food prices, and they're also providing the database with the customers' spending habits and what they spend. So I'm sure that all that information is reviewed and interpreted, and the vendors, the few vendors that are in control of American food production, they know what they can charge, exactly the amount that they can charge before the customer breaks. Because a few customers' food costs are too high for them is no big deal. They just don't want a mass exodus of customers suddenly complaining that they can't eat. And they don't want that. But they know exactly what they can charge. Exactly what they can charge without creating a big outcry. I'm sure that has a lot to do with the food prices and what they cost in the USA. I'm sure of it. It's basically conglomerate. It's collusion. And there's no more Peak 9 restaurant.